Arin lived in a bustling port city where the horizon was always crowded with masts and the air thick with salt and shouted orders. He worked long hours mending nets, the coarse rope leaving angry red marks on his hands. His gaze forever drifting towards the churning gray sea. He felt adrift himself, caught in the relentless tide of daily chores and unspoken expectations, yearning for a purpose as vast and clear as the open ocean. He watched ships depart for legendary shores, carrying adventurers, chasing maps marked with dragons in gold, while his own life felt like a small, closed cove. A deep loneliness settled within him, a quiet ache for something he couldn't name, a destination uncharted on any known map. One damp afternoon, sorting through his late grandfather's sea chest filled with weathered charts and brass instruments, Arin discovered a small, velvet-lined box tucked beneath a faded flag. Inside rested a compass unlike any he'd ever seen. Its casing was smooth rose gold, worn warm by time, and its face held only a single, elegant needle, crafted from what seemed like dark, smoky crystal. There were no cardinal points etched around its edge, no familiar N, S, E, or W, just the needle, perfectly still, a folded note, brittle with age. Simply read. It points true, if you dare to follow. Intrigued and desperate for any signpost, Arin slipped the cool metal disc into his pocket, its silent presence a strange comfort against his palm. Days turned into weeks as Arin carried the enigmatic compass everywhere. He tested it obsessively, standing on the windswept cliffs overlooking the harbor. The needle remained stubbornly inert, walking through the noisy, fish-smelling market lanes. It didn't tremble sitting by his cold hearth after another exhausting day. It pointed nowhere. Frustration gnawed at him. Was it broken? Was his grandfather's note merely a sentimental riddle? The disappointment was a physical weight, heavier than the wet nets he hauled. He almost threw the compass into the churning sea one stormy evening, convinced it was just another dead end in his search for meaning. He slumped on a rain-slicked dock, the city lights blurring through the downpour, feeling utterly lost, exhausted, soaked, and defeated. Arin finally sought shelter in the quiet, dim sanctuary of the old lighthouse keeper's chapel near the harbor's edge. He sat on a worn wooden bench, the only sound the drumming rain on the roof and his own weary breathing. He pulled the compass from his pocket, not expecting anything, simply holding it in his open palm as he stared at the simple altar for a long moment. Nothing happened then. A faint, warm glow emanated from the center of the crystal needle. Slowly, deliberately, it pivoted, not towards the door, not towards the sea visible through the high window, but inward. It pointed steadily, unwaveringly, directly at Arin's own heart. He gasped, a shock of understanding coursing through him. Colder and more profound than the rain, the true direction wasn't out there. The compass became Arin's silent guide, not to distant lands, but to the hidden landscape within himself. He learned its subtle language when the needle trembled slightly while he listened to an old sailor recount a tale of kindness at sea. Arin understood it resonated with his own buried compassion when it glowed a steady amber as he patiently untangled a particularly snarled net. It acknowledged his innate perseverance when it swung wildly as he overheard merchants arguing fiercely over unfair prices. It mirrored his own deep-seated sense of justice. He began spending quiet moments each day, simply sitting with the compass, observing where the needle settled, learning to recognize the quiet signals of his own values, passions, and fears he'd long ignored. He didn't abandon his life by the sea, but he lived it differently. Mending nets was no longer just toil. It became mindful work, his hands moving with a new rhythm that felt honest and grounding. He spoke less but listened more intently to the people around him. The weary fisherman, the bustling market vendors, the lonely lighthouse keeper. He discovered a quiet talent for calming disputes on the docks, his words guided by that inner needle pointing towards fairness and understanding. He started sketching the seabirds and the play of light on the waves, not to sell, but because the compass hummed with warmth when he did. Acknowledging a long-suppressed joy in creation, his loneliness began to dissolve, replaced by a profound connection to his own presence. Years flowed by like the tides. Arin never sailed for mythical islands, but he became a steady, respected pillar of his community. Known for his deep calm and quiet wisdom, the frantic yearning of his youth had settled into a profound contentment. He understood now that the greatest adventure wasn't crossing oceans, but navigating the vast, uncharted territory of one's own spirit. The compass remained his constant companion, a silent testament to the journey inward. One crisp autumn morning, seeing a young girl, Alara, sitting alone on the docks, her gaze fixed on the departing ships with the same restless longing he once knew, Arin felt the familiar warmth pulse in his pocket. He knew what he had to do. Approaching Alara, he sat beside her without a word, the sea breeze tugging at their clothes. After a comfortable silence, he gently placed the rose-gold compass into her small, uncertain hand. Her eyes widened at the strange, beautiful object. "What does it point to?" she whispered, tracing the single, dark crystal needle. Arin smiled, a smile etched with the piece of hard-won understanding. "It points true, child," he said softly, his voice as steady as the compass needle now resting over her own heart. "But only you can discover where that truly leads. Listen closely. The bravest voyage begins within." Alara closed her fingers around the warm metal, feeling a curious vibration, a quiet hum that seemed to echo inside her chest. A new kind of map unfolding.